Mr Speaker.
I call Ian McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Firstly, I must congratulate my colleague from the Primary Production Select Committee and fellow rural New Zealander, Damien O'Connor, on having drawn this bill from the ballot. Drawn from the ballot may be a little rich, Mr Speaker, as we did hear tonight that from Denise Roche that this is in fact a raffle. And I thought that was pretty rich coming from a party that don't really like gambling very much. I commiserate with Damien O'Connor, however, on the fact that I won't be able to support this bill. And contrary to the previous speaker, we're not supporting this bill because we believe in free markets and things like that. We're in fact not supporting this bill because we trust the 10,500 dairy farming families of Fonterra to get it right and do the right thing by their company.
That's right.
The bill has originated out of concern that Fonterra may be sold down the road by the Trading Amongst Farmers policy introduced after much consideration to enable Fonterra to achieve a stronger capital base. Capital, of course, is vital to the primary production sector. It's vital elsewhere in our economy. This factor has never been more apparent than it is in the discussions taking place in the meat industry, which Mr Ardern inadvertently referred to some time ago. Certainly capital is a very important factor for our agricultural industry in New Zealand. Hence the TAF initiative was brought to fruition as a result of the Dairy Industry Restructuring Act, an act that had a complete and constructive select committee process at the time of its introduction. There was criticism of TAF, but you get criticism of anything in a democracy. It was well supported in the end and I think has been well proven. As the member for West Coast stated, he was uneasy about the cap that Fonterra has since imposed on the fund themselves and introduced this member's bill to place a cap at 20% of that fund. My recollection was that he introduced the members' bill prior to Fonterra setting their own cap in their constitution of 25% of that fund. The result of this fund being established has seen a spectacular growth in the value of these tradable units, from a list value of $5.50 to, I think, trading today at $7.97, something like that. Interestingly enough, the sale of farmers' units predicted by many at the time of the launch or float has not occurred and in fact has considerably strengthened the balance sheet of our dairy farmers in New Zealand. Fonterra, of course, attracts about 80% of the milk in New Zealand, and contrary to Mr O'Connor's assertion that the price of $7 or $8 as it currently stands will put people off entering the industry, I think the fact that the Fonterra shareholders have retained their shares despite the very attractive price really means that their capital base is built to a strong enough extent that they will continue to join and support their industry as it moves on. Interestingly, today we've also seen the next round of the life of Synlait as they announced their intention to list on the New Zealand Stock Exchange. Synlait, one of a number of players in the next tier of the dairy industry in New Zealand, and of course based in Canterbury. So all in all, the dairy sector in good heart have built a new level of resilience and confidence as a result of trading amongst farmers and are playing a greater role in our export receipts than ever before, and in fact in New Zealand's future. There were a number of other assertions made during the last couple of speeches, and I think that they can demonstrably be proved to be untrue. And I think that as the Fonterra company holds their level of milk, attracts the level of milk they do at about 80% of the New Zealand production is rising at a greater rate than in fact can be swallowed up by the new companies coming into New Zealand. Fonterra is having to build a significant amount of new infrastructure themselves to keep this going, and so I think that we're seeing the dairy industry in extremely good heart at the moment. I think the trading amongst farmers has played a very good role in strengthening the capital base of Fonterra, and I also think that the price that the trading amongst farmers shares have got to is probably well backed by the assets of Fonterra and can be demonstratively proved to be a useful acquisition for the dairy industry. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Is there any further speak?
Mr Speaker.
I call Ian Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Slightly surprised to be taking call at this stage.